Hi guys, my name is Dawn. I'm gonna be your DM or Dungeon Master for this upcoming game. I just wanted to introduce myself and kind of go over a few things because I'm sure you guys Googled Dungeons and Dragons, YouTube it, and found that there's so much information that it's downright confusing for new players between the editions, the style of plays, like the miniatures and the books and maps and all this stuff, and it tends to turn new players away before they even start. So I wanted to go and sit down with you guys and do an overview of what you guys are getting into, what you're going to see, what to expect, and how to get the most out of it. So with that being said, what is D&D? Okay, Dungeons and Dragons is a collaboratory storytelling game. That's all it is. And basically, the players are going to go on an adventure and they're going to create a story. That's basically it. You're going to take on a role of a character and explore the world as that character. That's all it is. Okay. There is two types of players. There's the DM, which I'm going to be, and then there's the rest of the players. Now, people tend to get confused about the game being that it's DM versus players. It's not. DM does not go against the players. The DM plays as the bad guys, but the DM's not rooting or trying to kill off the players. Okay, there's just simply the ones who do the framework of the storyline or the world that you are going to go and explore. That's it. It's basically the DM is your PlayStation or your Xbox. You pop in the game, the video game console basically dictates what happens in the game, kind of. That's all the Dungeon Master is. Um, with that being said, we're going to be playing the newest D&D. It is 5th edition. Okay, it's very simplistic. Everything's broken down very well for new players. So that's why I'm choosing to start you guys off as 5th edition. It's the most current one out there. All right. So there is, if you guys Googled, a couple different styles of play. A lot of times it's hotly debated and, fights break out and stuff over it. Realistically, there's no right or wrong way to play. Okay, those two types that I'm talking about is what's called theater of the mind and playing with miniatures. Okay, theater of mind is literally book, paper, pencil, dice. That's it. It's all being done in your head, all the battles, it's all act out as you're sitting there at the table talking about what's going on and you visualize it in your head. That's what theater of the mind is. Miniatures, however, is where you go and you get these lovely big maps and props and miniatures and, all this stuff here. And you put it on the table and you, even though you're still having that dialogue and talking about it and doing voice acting, so to speak, out it, you've got this visual stuff out on the table, and you kind of put your pieces where you're at on the map, and it's more visual. Okay, there's no right way, there's no wrong way to do it. Okay, so it's just a preference. I typically start groups out that are just starting the game doing a little bit of both so you guys can kind of feel which style you want. Okay. With that being said, there's kind of like a sub style of play. Okay. There's the slapstick comedy, I'm going to trip my teammate as he goes down the stairs, kind of Mel Brooks style Men in Tights play. Then there's the Lord of the Rings style, play, where it is, we must save the world, from doomed and our country's being overran by goblins, so we really have to take this seriously style. And again, there's no right, there's no wrong way. You can do a little bit both, but it's just up to you guys how you guys play. Now, when you're playing, okay, there, as you looked at YouTube or Google Dungeons and Dragons, you guys probably saw all these miniatures. You probably saw all these books, especially the price tag being that they're like 50 bucks a piece, and these maps and all these different dice that you need, and it's overwhelming. You guys don't need any of that. You really don't. So while I use all this stuff, I'm going to have it set up where you guys just need to come, sit down with an open mind and play. I'm going to have for you guys your character sheets, your miniatures, your dice, all that stuff, so you can see what the game's like. I know people who went out and bought every single one of these books, whole bunch of dice and miniatures, sat down and played, and turned out did not like the game, and they just wasted a couple $100 on this stuff. So don't worry about all of this stuff of going out and buying it. I got everything. With that being said, I'm going to go over some of the stuff that you're going to see in gameplay. Okay, like I mentioned, miniatures, both the monsters and the good guys. You'll see pretty much everything from little demonic beings to skeletons to whatever. Okay, those are going to represent whatever's going on in combat. Okay, so you'll see it to get a little visual. And like I said, I have maps to put out. Also, you'll see different handouts. And what I mean by handouts is I'll pass out like these cards. Some of them have faces on it, some have bad guys, items, weapons, whatnot. Other times the handouts are physical props that I will just put out on the table for visual representation of stuff, just so that we're all kind of on the same page. Now, for this game that we're going to have, okay, the biggest thing that you guys will be getting are these little packets that I made, okay? Now, the first thing that you see in these packets, okay, that tend to overwhelm players the most is character sheets. Now, as you can see, I highlighted with different colors on these sheets all stuff that you'll mostly be looking at. Okay, so when you're looking at these sheets, you're not going through this whole thing and being overwhelmed. So when it's combat, you're basically looking at what's the red, you know. When it's role playing, it's your blue stats, you know. When you need an item, it's your green. So everything's going to be broken down so when you play, you understand what you're doing. Okay. Now, each character sheet is different because there's different types of characters. Okay. When we sit down, you guys can go through and pick what kind. Okay. So this is more information on the game. Then you're going to see dice. Okay. It's a picture of the dice with the highlighter on the name of the dice. Okay. That way, when we're playing and you guys have a whole bag full of dice in front of you, and I say, get me a D10 out, you can look on here real quick and find out which one's a D10 and roll that dice. So it just makes it easier for you guys. Okay. Behind that is a hand-drawn map of the world that we're going to play in and explore. Okay. So that, again, everybody's on the same page. And then I have some graph paper for some sketching maps if you need them, because sometimes you need them in the game, and blank paper to write notes on. Each one of you guys are going to get this little thing. And like I said, the most overwhelming part of the game is this character sheet. But like I said, I purposely highlighted it to do different things. So when we're in combat, you just focus on the combat stuff. If we're at a negotiation situation, you only look at the blue. Okay, so it's like broken down for what is important. So you can just zone in on that and not be overwhelmed by the mess of words and numbers and plus signs and minus signs. Okay. All right. Now, that aside, there's a few more things I want to go over. Okay. The big thing is have fun. every new player comes to the table and the first thing that they think, oh God, I don't want to make an ass out of myself. Okay, it's D&D. You're pretending to be an elf shooting an arrow at a dragon. You're going to look like an idiot. That's just a part of the game. Okay, so try to have fun with it. Okay, that being said, there's some people that get really into their character and start doing voices and different mannerisms and stutters and whatnot. Okay, some aren't that good at it. Like me, I suck, but I tried. Others won't. They'll just say, my character goes up to the bartender and asks for an ale. Others will completely change character and go through that motion, doing voice acting out that whole interaction. Either way, it's fine. The key is to have fun. It doesn't matter which way you do it. Okay. Now here's a key component that literally messes up new players more than anything. It is what's called player knowledge and character knowledge. In the game, we're all sitting at the same table. Okay. So as I'm talking to one person, the whole entire group's going to hear me. Okay. That being said, all players know what's being said. Now, do their characters know that? It's confusing, so I'll break it down like this. All of the players, okay, are in this ancient castle, okay? The roof's been broken off, and you just walked into a room, and the first thing you guys see is this huge, fierce red dragon on top of a pile of gold and gems and treasure. And that being said, Dana's character wants to go explore. It's a halfling and doesn't get scared easily with such monstrosities. So Dana rolls a perception. I explained to her as the rest of the group is looking at that dragon and is distracted. I explained to her that there's a open little hole in wall over here to her right. So Dana says her character goes in there. She goes in there, explores, winds up finding a chest that she picks open the lock, and there is a dagger with gems embedded in it. Now, while I explained that to Dana, so her character knows what the character is seeing, everybody else at the table has heard that, but their characters don't know that. Their characters are just seeing this big ass red dragon in front of them. Okay? So you guys can't say, hey, she's got that dagger. I want to go over and take it out of her hand. No, you guys didn't see it because you guys were distracted by that red dragon in front of your face. That being said, another example is if she comes back from getting this dagger, okay, and she knows that Mike's character, the wizard, has in his back pocket a key to the door next door, and Mike has told her repeatedly, no, you're not getting this key. If she sneaks up behind Mike's character and her character pickpockets that key, Mike can't turn around and say, well, I want my key back, because her character rolled high enough to steal that. Her character did that. So Mike, even though he's at the table and Mike knows Dana's character just took it, Mike's character does not. It's a little confusing, but you just got to remember there's two different identities. There's you as the real human you, and then there's the character you. Okay? As you play, you'll get used to it and all, but it's one of those key components that beginners tend to miss on or mess up or get confused on. So just remember, just because you hear me physically say it doesn't mean your character knows about it. So that is character knowledge and player knowledge. All right, so again, guys, have fun. I'm looking forward to this game. Don't get overwhelmed. If you do Google stuff, just remember, okay, when you look at those character sheets and see all those numbers, I got it broken down for you. I got little cheat sheets in here for you for different stuff, for the dice and whatnot. It's going to be laid out very simplistic so it can be ran smoothly. And just remember to have fun okay? And do not go out and buy any merchandise until you start playing the game, because I do not want you to make the mistake of spending hundreds of dollars when you really do not need to. All right, I'll catch you guys later.